no one said getting back up would be easy. Beaten, bruised, defeated. Rebuilding a reputation means going back to basics. The Famas, a bullpup assault rifle with a troubled history and a renaissance of French arms manufacturing. So, what were the painful experiences behind the Famas' conception? Why is it called the Bugle? And would it make France proud again? To tell the tale of the Famas, the tale of the Frenchman has to come first. Glamorous, successful, and proud. But World War II changed everything. In 1940, France could not stop Hitler's advance and were forced to retreat. To say their morale was shattered does not do justice to the helplessness they felt, seeing their land occupied by a foreign power. The land of Napoleon Bonaparte and Jeanne d'Arc, thoroughly humiliated. While the military would eventually fight back against the Nazis alongside Allied forces' help, reclaim their land and become one of the pillars of the Treaty of Brussels, that feeling never went away. To make matters worse, the defeat of France in Indochina saw the Viet Minh exploit the military's crippled state after World War II and free themselves from outsider control. What followed after would become one of the many conflicts that permeated during the Cold War: Korea, Cuba, Afghanistan, etc. The image of France as a conqueror of nations fractured. In 1958, under Charles de Gaulle leadership, France withdrew from NATO, under the understanding that they were not equal with the United States and the United Kingdom. This isn't the behavior of a country who wants peace. With partnerships, compromises have to follow. However, Gaullism demanded power. They had enough of being the world's laughingstock, and so work on regaining their pride began. Integral to this process was the state-owned Manufacture d'Armes de Saint-Étienne, makers of exquisite arms, their track record vast and proving, the perfect party to entrust such a formative task. During this time, the French army were fielding the MAS 49-56 battle rifle and the MAT 49 submachine gun. While these weapons were once state-of-the-art, iterative improvements only went so far. It said a lot about the ingenuity of MAS's approach to arms development, however, and France needed this more than ever. Recognizing that the weapons were obsolete, and with little money to go around, MAS licensed the G3 and the HK-33 designs, producing a number of units as temporary substitutes for the army. This did not sit well with high command, who thought sacrilegious the use of an enemy rifle. Widely attributed to General Marcel Vigier, a request was made: make an infantry weapon to replace the 49-56 and the MAT 49. The project began in 1967, led by Paul Tillier, an engineer of MAS and a cadet in the French army. Replacing two weapon systems with one brought in a number of challenges. MAS are an industrious lot, however, and with what little surplus they had, they experimented. Bullpups, as a concept, are not new. France previously prototyped some designs. The basic principle behind this firearm is obtaining a shorter overall profile that doesn't sacrifice barrel length thanks to the action and magazine being far behind the trigger. The power of a battle rifle with the length of an SMG, a perfect fit given the design goals. One of the major features of the new weapon was that it was designed to fire the newly approved 5.56 by 45mm NATO round. Almost. Despite recognizing the advantages of the intermediate cartridge, largely due to America's M16, its high pressure didn't play well with the blowback system. The design went on to use a modified 5.56 round with lower pressure, perfect for the weapon. With the main issue solved, there was hope that no failures would come out of this. Or so it was thought. 4 prototypes were discarded because of reliability issues, and, with France's involvement in a new conflict, the army put the project on hold. The Swiss would lend the French a hand, licensing their SG-540 design. It seemed the new weapon would not see the light of day. Luckily, the rifles brought in to assist would not meet the army's expectations. After 3 more tries, lucky number 7 emerged. Codename Mass A7, after its successful testing, it went on to become the assault rifle of the Saint-Étienne arms factory. The Famas introduced a number of firsts. It was the first bullpup to be adopted by a major military group, so the Austrians may have something to say about that. It was one of the first fully ambidextrous weapons, requiring little more than a screw to make the bolt eject spent cases to the left. And despite some transitional features, like the ability to fire rifle grenades and the use of a bayonet, it was the weapon that brought France into the modern era. And so, the rifleman was dead. Those tasked to field 1,000 Famases, either in peacekeep or warfare, were happy with it. Its distinctive profile would earn it the nickname Le Clairon, the Bugle. While mostly for its looks, there's truth to this comparison, considering how the innards work. Simple, but effective. There was an aura around the Famas that appealed to the common man, an unquantifiable cool factor. It was no M16, and it certainly wasn't anything like any other assault rifle fielded out there. But its origin alone commanded attention, even from the top gun manufacturers. Despite its track record, the Famas's presence in pop culture is limited. It should be just as popular as the AUG, but it isn't. It was up to the country that gave us film to toot their own horn, appearing in a number of movies that didn't see international release. And, while Hollywood armorers stocked the weapon in some movies, it was rarely center stage. The Famas would find a grateful audience in video games then. From being the assault rifle that armed an insurrection, to modern conflict between nations, this weapon would become a part of any title aiming to wield a realistic arsenal. Wherever there's a French soldier, there's a Famas close. Even if its use isn't always portrayed accurately, the core features all mimic reality. A fast-firing weapon on either full auto or 3-round burst. While the Famas is modern, it is a relic of 70s France. There were various revisions to the weapon. The G2 version, which accepted NATO Stanag magazines without malfunctions, was adopted by the Navy. A modified F1 was adapted into the Phelon program, allowing for the use of advanced electronics. Yet the platform was an anachronism. MAS closed their doors in 2002, effectively killing any future inventory. Thus the weapon's decline began. After everything it did to stay relevant, it wasn't enough. The writing was on the wall. In 2014, the army put out a tender to replace the 35-year-old rifle. The Famas's time was over. Germany would come to France's aid with the HK-416. Irony aside, how well this carbine works for the armed forces remains to be seen. But the Famas's legacy endures. The army's reputation would never be the same. But it didn't matter. Its mission accomplished. Even if its footprint is small compared to others, this unmusical bugle has a place amongst history's most iconic arms. The pinnacle of Mass's storied ensemble of equipment, and it wore that crown proudly. The product of a painful gestation, but it wouldn't be half the weapon it is had it not happened. France still had what it takes. The Famas. Lucky number 7. Bugle. Hope Giver. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, with nothing more to say, signing out.